The champagne flute shattered against the bulkhead like a gunshot in the hushed opulence of first class, spraying golden fizz across the crisp white linens and the smug face of the intruder who'd just claimed Eric's seat. "You think you can just waltz in here after everything and act like this is yours?" Eric's voice cracked, raw and venomous, drawing every eye in the cabin as the businessman. Tall, impeccably suited, with that same predatory smile that had once made Eric's knees weak. Didn't even flinch, just dabbed at his cuff with a monogrammed handkerchief. But before the flight attendant could intervene, the plane lurched violently, engines whining in protest as the captain's voice boomed over the intercom. "This is your captain speaking. We've been ordered to return to the gate. Remain seated. Federal authorities are boarding." Eric's heart hammered against his ribs like a trapped bird, the recycled air thick with the scent of fierce sweat and spilled Dom Perignon. He'd boarded this flight from JFK to LAX with the singular purpose of escaping. New York had become a graveyard of memories, each corner haunted by the ghost of a love that had gutted him 2 years ago. And now, here was Marcus Hale, the man who'd stolen not just his heart but his trust, his future, plopped in 2A like he owned the damn airline. Eric gripped the armrest of his assigned seat, now usurped, his knuckles whitening as the plane taxied back, the ground cruise lights flashing like accusatory strobes through the window. Marcus leaned back, crossing his legs with that infuriating nonchalance, his dark eyes locking onto Eric's with a flicker of something unreadable: regret? Amusement? "Eric," he drawled, voice low and laced with that southern drawl that used to melt butter. "Fancy meeting you here. Still flying coach in your dreams, I see." The jab landed like a knife twist, because Eric wasn't dreaming. He was clawing his way up from the ashes Marcus had left him in. After their breakup, Eric had poured everything into his freelance journalism gig, chasing stories that paid just enough to keep the lights on in his Brooklyn walk-up. This ticket, a rare splurge, earned from a piece on corporate whistleblowers that had finally broken through the paywall noise. The cabin door hissed open, and chaos erupted in tailored suits. For FBI agents stormed the aisle, badges glinting under the overheads, their faces etched with the grim efficiency of men who'd seen too many mid-air takedowns. Marcus Hale, the lead agent, barked, a broad-shouldered woman with a no-nonsense ponytail. "You're under arrest for securities fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to defraud the United States government. Hands where we can see them." Gasps rippled through the passengers. A tech mogul in 1B clutched her pearls, a Hollywood exec live-tweeting furiously from his phone. Marcus's composure cracked then, just a hairline fracture, as zip ties snapped around his wrists. But his gaze never left Eric's, and in that suspended second, amid the scuffle and shouted Miranda rights, Eric saw it. The plea, naked and desperate, buried under layers of charm and deceit. "Eric," Marcus mouthed, voice drowned by the agent's commands. "Help me." The words hit like vertigo, pulling Eric back to that rainy night in Marcus's Soho loft, when the older man, then a rising star at a Wall Street hedge fund, had pulled him close after a gala, whispering promises of forever against sweat-damp skin. Eric had been 25, fresh out of Columbia with a journalism degree and stars in his eyes. Marcus, 32, all sharp suits and sharper ambition, had been the first man to make him feel seen, desired, whole. Their love had burned hot and fast, stolen weekends in the Hamptons, lazy Sundays tangled in Egyptian cotton, Marcus's fingers tracing the curve of Eric's spine like he was mapping a treasure. But it had ended in flames. Marcus's infidelity exposed in a tabloid splash, a parade of younger models and business associates that left Eric shattered, questioning every touch, every "I love you." Now, as the agents hauled Marcus toward the jet bridge, Eric's legs moved on autopilot. "Wait," he called, voice steadier than he felt, stepping into the aisle. The flight attendant shot him a warning look, but the lead agent paused, eyebrow arched. I know him. Eric Langford. We have history." History. What a sterile word for the way Marcus had carved himself into Eric's soul, only to excise it with surgical cruelty. The agent, her name tag read Agent Reyes, eyed him appraisingly. "Mr. Langford, if you're a witness or have relevant information, we need to talk. Off the record for now." Marcus twisted in the agent's grip, his polished facade crumbling into something almost human. Sweat beading on his forehead, eyes wild. "Eric, please. You know me. This is all a misunderstanding." Eric's laugh was bitter, echoing in the suddenly silent cabin. "A misunderstanding? Like how you misunderstood our entire relationship when you fucked your way through half of Manhattan's club scene. Whispers erupted, phones discreetly angling for the drama. But beneath the rage, a treacherous spark ignited. That old pull, the gravity of Marcus that Eric had spent years orbiting. They deplaned into a whirlwind. Eric shuttled to a holding area at JFK's federal office. A sterile box of fluorescent buzz and lukewarm coffee, while Marcus was processed in an adjacent cell. Agent Reyes grilled him gently at first. How long had they dated? Any knowledge of Marcus's dealings? Eric spilled it all, the words tumbling like confessions in a dark bar. The lavish gifts that now screamed red flags, the late nights Marcus dismissed as client dinners. The way he'd gaslight Eric into doubting his own instincts. He was my first real love, Eric admitted, voice thick, staring at the scuffed linoleum. The first guy who didn't make me feel like being gay was a phase. But he lied about everything. Used me like a prop for his perfect life. Reyes nodded, her pen scratching notes. Sounds like classic manipulation. Hale's been on our radar for months. Ponzi scheme targeting queer-owned startups. Preying on folks like you who trusted him. Like you. The words stung, painting Eric as just another mark. But they also freed something. A valve releasing pent-up grief. By midnight, the interrogation wrapped, and Eric was free to go. Though free felt like a joke when your ex's arrest splashed across CNN's ticker. He collapsed into a cab, the Manhattan skyline blurring past, neon veins pulsing with indifferent life. His phone buzzed incessantly. Texts from his editor, holy shit, scoop of the century? His best friend Lila, call me now, you okay? And impossibly, a blocked number he'd unblocked in a moment of weakness. We need to talk. For old times. Sleep evaded him that night in his cramped apartment, the walls closing in with echoes of Marcus's laugh, his cologne clinging to the air like a specter. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving, and by 8 a.m., Eric was pounding the pavement to the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan, credentials in hand. Not for Marcus, for the story. That's what he told himself as he flashed his press pass, slipping into the gallery for Hale's arraignment. The courtroom hummed with restrained energy. Suits from the SEC, reporters jostling for angles, a smattering of protesters outside chanting about corporate greed. Marcus entered in an orange jumpsuit that clashed violently with his golden boy aura, shackles clinking like a dirge. Their eyes met across the room, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed. Just them, suspended in the amber of what-ifs. Then the judge's gavel cracked, bail denied, and Marcus was led away, mouthing thank you as if Eric's mere presence was salvation. Outside, rain slicked the steps, turning the city into a watercolor smear. Eric lit a cigarette, a vice he'd quit after Marcus called it unbecoming, and inhaled deeply, the smoke curling like unanswered questions. That's when the black SUV pulled up, tinted windows rolling down to reveal Agent Reyes, her expression a mix of sympathy and calculation. Langford, get in. Hale's lawyered up fast, top firm, the kind that eats journalists for breakfast. But he mentioned you in his statement. Said you're the only one who can clear his name. Eric's stomach twisted. Clear his name? After what he did. But curiosity, that journalist's curse, won out. He slid into the leather seat, the door sealing with a finality that echoed his dread. They drove to a nondescript safe house in Brooklyn Heights, brownstones whispering secrets to the East River. Inside, it was all exposed brick and IKEA minimalism, a far cry from Marcus's penthouse success. Reyes poured scotch, off the record, but don't quote me, and laid it out. Marcus's scheme was deeper than fraud. It involved blackmailing investors with fabricated dirt, including photos of Eric from their intimate days, twisted to imply complicity. He's throwing you under the bus to save his skin, she said flatly. But if you testify, we can bury him. And maybe heal some of that history. Testify. The word conjured courtrooms and spotlights, but also catharsis. Finally voicing the betrayal that had silenced him for years. Yet as Eric stared at the amber liquid, memories flooded. Marcus's hand in his at a pride parade, defiant against slurs from drunk frat boys. The quiet mornings when Marcus would brew coffee strong enough to wake the dead, pressing a kiss to Eric's temple like a vow. Was it all smoke? Or had there been truth amid the lies? The knock came at dusk, sharp, insistent. Reyes checked the peephole, then unlocked the door to a ghost. Alex, Marcus's younger brother, all rumpled button-down and haunted green eyes that mirrored his siblings but softer, less armored. Eric? Alex breathed, stepping inside like he belonged there. A manila folder clutched in white-knuckled hands. I flew in from Chicago the second I heard. Marcus, he's falling apart. He told me everything. Alex Hale. The brother Eric had met only once, at a family barbecue in the Hamptons where he charmed Eric with stories of their Texas roots. His laugh a lighter shade of Marcus's thunder. Gay too, out and proud in a way Marcus never quite managed. Alex had always been the good Hale, a non-profit lawyer fighting for LGBTQ+ rights, the een to his brother's Wall Street young. Now, standing rain-damp in the safe house, he looked like a man who'd aged a decade in days. Everything, Eric echoed, wariness sharpening his tone. Reyes excused herself to make calls, leaving them alone in the dim lamplight. Alex thrust the folder forward. Bank records, emails, proof Marcus was coerced. The real puppet master is Victor Lang, no relation, a rival fund manager who's been gunning for him. Marcus took the fall to protect the family. And you. His voice cracked on you, eyes searching Eric's face with an intensity that bordered on ache. Eric flipped through the pages, numbers blurring into accusations. It painted Marcus not as villain, but victim, pressured into the scheme to shield their father's legacy from Lang's sabotage. But the photos were there too. Candid shots of Eric and Marcus in bed, timestamps from their happiest months, annotated with vicious lies. This doesn't erase what he did to me, Eric whispered, slamming the folder shut. The cheating, the gaslighting. I was collateral damage in his ambition. Alex stepped closer, the air between them charging like a storm front. I know. God, Eric, I saw the wreckage. When he came out to me after you left, sobbing like a kid, it broke me too. He loved you, loves you still. That's why he's clinging to your name like a lifeline. His hand brushed Eric's arm, tentative, electric. A touch that sparked not memory, but possibility. Alex's scent was clean, like fresh linen and resolve. Nothing like Marcus's spicy aftershave. The room tilted, emotions colliding. Fury at Marcus, pity for the man he'd been, and this new gravity pulling toward Alex, who saw Eric not as a story or a conquest, but as a survivor worth fighting for. Why are you here, Alex? Eric asked, voice barely above a breath. Because, Alex said, cupping Eric's cheek with a gentleness that undid him. Someone in this family needs to choose love over legacy, and I choose you. Their kiss was inevitable, born of shared scars. Lips tentative at first, then hungry, Alex's hands threading through Eric's hair as if anchoring a ship in tumult. Tasted of salt and scotch, grief transmuting to grace. When they broke apart, foreheads pressed, Eric felt the first crack in his armor, light seeping through. But dawn brought reality's bite. Marcus's trial loomed, headlines screaming Wall Street Lothario's queer betrayal, twisting their story into clickbait. Reporters camped Eric's stoop, forcing him deeper into Alex's orbit. Late nights poring over evidence. Alex's Brooklyn walk up a sanctuary of takeout Thai and whispered vulnerabilities. Alex opened up about his own heartbreaks. A closeted ex in law school, the church-raised guilt that lingered like Texas dust. Eric shared his fears. The empty inbox after Marcus. The gnawing doubt that love was just another con. Their bond deepened in stolen moments. A hand on the small of Eric's back during depositions. Alex's laugh echoing in the courthouse halls, brighter than the fluorescence. Sex came slow, reverent. Not the frantic passion of youth, but a deliberate unraveling, bodies mapping forgiveness under rumpled sheets. You're safe with me? Alex murmured against Eric's collarbone. And for the first time in years, Eric believed it. Yet shadows lengthened. Marcus's lawyers circled, subpoenaing Eric as a key witness. Their briefs dripping with insinuations. Langford's testimony unreliable due to romantic entanglements. Whispers spread, was Eric in on it? A honey trap? Lila warned him over frantic calls. Babe, this smells like a setup. Hale men are poison ivy. Pretty, but they itch forever. The doubt festered, especially when Alex's phone buzzed with late-night calls from the firm, his voice dropping to hushed tones. Eric overheard fragments. Protect the assets. Marcus can't know. Paranoia bloomed. Old wounds reopening. Was Alex just another Hale? playing savior to salvage the family name? The breaking point came mid-trial, in a rain-lashed week where New York drowned its sins. Eric, testifying under oath, laid bare the affair's rot, Marcus's lies, the infidelity confirmed by hotel receipts Alex himself had unearthed. Marcus's eyes, from the defense table, burned with betrayal, but it was Alex's absence that gutted him. No text, no call. Just silence after a curt good luck that morning. Post-testimony, Eric stormed Alex's office, the nonprofit's bullpen empty save for the hum of printers. He found him in the back room, door ajar, on the phone. Yes, the transfer's complete. Marcus gets the offshore account. It buys him time. Eric froze, heart plummeting. Offshore. The same slush fund Reyes had flagged in Discovery. "You son of a bitch," Eric hissed, bursting in. Alex whirled, phone clattering, face ashen. "Eric, it's not. Save it. You're just like him. Laundering money through your noble causes? Using me to soften the jury?" The words were daggers, each one slicing deeper than Marcus's ever had. Alex reached for him, but Eric recoiled, storming into the downpour, cab lights blurring into accusations. Days blurred into a haze of depositions and deadlines, Eric holing up in a midtown hotel, pounding out his exposé. The Hale deception. A family's fraud and the love it destroyed. It went viral before ink dried, raw, unflinching, outing the brothers' complicity without mercy. Lila cheered. His editor promoted him on the spot. But victory tasted like ash, the bed cold and vast. The trial's climax unfolded in a packed courtroom, electric with anticipation. Marcus took the stand, transformed, gaunt, eyes hollowed by isolation. Under cross, he cracked, "I did it for us," he confessed, voice breaking. The money was to build something real, a life away from the suits with Eric. But Victor, he had the photos, forced my hand. Tears streamed, unscripted, as he turned to Eric in the gallery. "I never stopped loving you, even when I destroyed us." The jury wavered, but Reyes's evidence sealed it. Wire transfers traced to Alex's accounts, proving the brothers' tag team guilty on all counts. As marshals led Marcus away, sentence: 20 years. His gaze locked on Eric one last time, a silent "I'm sorry" that echoed in the soul. Outside, under a sky finally cracking blue, Alex waited on the steps, uncharacteristically disheveled, a bouquet of wilting daisies in hand, Eric's favorite, from their one shared picnic. "It wasn't what you think," he started, voice raw. "The transfers? Legit donations rerouted to queer shelters Marcus embezzled from. I was cleaning his mess, not covering it. Swear to God, Eric, to everything we built." Eric's throat tightened, rain from days past still chilling his bones. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Fear," Alex admitted, stepping closer, vulnerability bearing him like never before. "Of losing you, of being just another Hale fuck-up." He pressed the flowers into Eric's palm, petals soft as hope. "But I choose transparency now. Therapy, restitution, whatever it takes. Because you're my horizon." The dam broke then, Eric's resolve crumbling under the weight of Alex's gaze. Steady, unyielding, a lighthouse in the fog. Their embrace was fierce, bodies colliding in the spring chill, lips meeting in a kiss that tasted of redemption. Salty, sweet, alive. No promises uttered, just the quiet vow of presence. Months later, as summer baked the city gold, Eric's byline graced the Atlantic, his book deal inked on queer shadows, betrayal and the American dream. Alex stood beside him at launch parties, hand in Eric's back pocket, a quiet activist now, channeling the scandal into policy reform. Marcus wrote from Sing Sing, letters of amends, not excuses, read aloud over wine-fueled dinners that stitched wounds without erasing scars. In the end, love wasn't a heist or a headline. It was this two men, flawed and fierce, choosing each other amid the rubble. On a rooftop in Brooklyn, city lights sprawling like forgiven sins, Eric leaned into Alex's warmth. "We're not them," he murmured. Alex's smile was sunlit. "No, we're us." And in that us they found home.